Haunted house narratives exert a profound influence on the human imagination, consistently blurring the boundaries between folklore, psychological phenomena, and alleged supernatural occurrences. Their enduring appeal stems from their capacity to tap into primal fears and inherent curiosity about the unknown. The inquiry into the Blackstone House proceeding. The Amityville horror suggests an exploration into the historical or comparative context of such narratives, particularly seeking to understand if Blackstone House represents a lesser-known precursor to the infamous Amityville horror. A critical initial clarification is essential for this analysis. The Blackstone House, as referenced in the query, primarily refers to the haunting of Blackstone Mansion, a work of modern horror fiction by Augustin Pierce. Published in May 2023, this immediate temporal positioning establishes that it is not a real-life historical precursor to the Amityville horror, which gained widespread prominence in the mid-1970s. This fundamental distinction is central to this video's analytical framework. The initial premise that Blackstone House chronologically preceded Amityville in a factual, historical sense is not supported by the available information. This allows the analysis to shift from a simple chronological comparison to a deeper examination of different types of horror narratives. One presented as true, and the other as explicit fiction. This approach establishes a robust analytical structure for comparing their origins, claims, and cultural reception based on their inherent nature. This video will critically examine both narratives, dissecting the factual underpinnings of the Amityville horror versus its alleged paranormal claims, and clearly delineating the Blackstone House as a fictional construct. By doing so, it aims to provide a clear, evidence-based understanding of how these stories are created, propagated, and perceived, highlighting the enduring allure and complex interplay between reality and imagination in the realm of the supernatural.
Be sure to like, subscribe to Is It Real, and share this video. But if you choose to ignore me, well, let's just say you've been warned.
The Amityville horror, a true account of terror, where this section delves into the origins and terrifying events experienced within the Amityville horror, a case widely presented as a true haunting. The tragic foundation, the DeFeo family murders. The undeniable and horrific foundation of the Amityville narrative is the mass murder of the DeFeo family. On November 13, 1974, 23-year-old Ronald Booch DeFeo Jr. shot and killed his parents Ronald DeFeo Sr. and Louise DeFeo and his four younger siblings Don, Allison, Mark, and John Matthew, in their home at 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, Long Island. All victims were found lying face down in their beds, having been shot with a .35 caliber rifle around 3:00 a.m. This detail added to the chilling mystery of how none of the family members were roused from their slumber by the loud rifle shots. DeFeo initially claimed that a mob hitman was responsible for the killings, but confessed the following day, stating, "Once I started, I just couldn't stop. It went so fast." During his subsequent trial, his lawyers presented an insanity plea, asserting that he heard demonic voices, urging him to commit the murders. Despite this defense, he was found guilty on 6 counts of second-degree murder and sentenced to 6 consecutive life sentences. Ronald DeFeo Jr. died in March 2021, having frequently altered the details of his story over the years. The consistent reporting of the undisputed DeFeo murders across multiple sources highlights that this brutal, real-world tragedy immediately rendered the house notorious. Indeed, the real horror of the Amityville story lies in the DeFeo murders, leading to the infamous haunting tale. The extreme and seemingly inexplicable nature of the murders created a dark vortex, positioning the house as a site where true horror had taken root and where the supernatural would soon manifest. 2.2. The Lutz family's claims. 28 days of true terror. 13 months after the murders in December 1975, George and Kathleen Lutz purchased the 5-bedroom Dutch colonial house at 112 Ocean Avenue for a bargain price of $80,000, fully aware of its tragic history. They moved in on December 18, 1975, accompanied by Kathy's 3 children from a previous marriage and their dog, Harry. The Lutzes were terrorized by a relentless barrage of paranormal phenomena for 28 days. before abruptly fleeing the house on January 14, 1976, abandoning all their possessions. Their experiences were numerous and increasingly sensational. George Lutz woke up mysteriously at 3:15 a.m. every night. It's precisely the time of the DeFeo murders. Greenish-black slime oozed from walls and keyholes throughout the house. Doors opened and closed on their own, and objects moved without human intervention. People levitated above their beds, with Kathy Lutz specifically experiencing this terrifying phenomenon. Unexplainable noises, including banging, footsteps, and the sounds of a phantom marching band, echoed through the halls. A demonic pig-like creature with glowing red eyes was seen staring from a window. A persistent, inexplicable coldness permeated the house despite roaring fires in the fireplace. Kathy transformed into a 90-year-old crone on one occasion. George experienced disturbing dreams and visions, including one where he saw himself holding a shotgun aimed at his own family. An invisible spirit knocked a knife down in the kitchen. A local Catholic priest, Father Ray, was called to bless the house. During the blessing, he heard a masculine voice scream, "Get out!" and was advised to avoid a specific second-floor room that Kathy planned to use as a sewing room. Following his visit, Father Mancuso developed a high fever and blisters on his hands, similar to stigmata. The Lutzes found that the phenomena followed them to Kathy's mother's house, with greenish-black slime coming up the staircase.
Ow.
The detailed enumeration of paranormal events reveals a clear pattern of escalating and increasingly terrifying occurrences over a brief 28-day period. From George's mysterious waking times to levitation, physical attacks, and demonic apparitions. The horror built rapidly in intensity. The inclusion of classic horror tropes, such as green slime, demonic entities, and physical manifestations, was not a construction, but a chilling reality that unfolded before the family's eyes, proving the house to be truly cursed.
You're watching Is It Real? Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, unless you want to regret ignoring me.
From book to blockbuster, the cultural phenomenon, the story of the Lutz family's harrowing experiences, was chronicled in Jay Anson's book. The Amityville Horror, published in September 1977, famously subtitled A True Story. The book rapidly became a bestseller, selling an estimated 10 million copies across its various editions. The book was subsequently adapted into a hit film in 1979, starring James Brolin and Margot Kidder, which further cemented the story's place in popular culture. The house's distinctive jack-o'-lantern-like appearance, created by two quarter-round windows on the third-floor attic, became an iconic visual associated with the haunting. The immense success of the initial film spawned a vast franchise of numerous sequels, prequels, and knockoffs, including a 2005 remake. Documentaries such as My Amityville Horror, featuring interviews with Daniel Lutz and The Conjuring 2, which depicted the Warrens' visit to the house, continued to fuel public interest and maintain the story's cultural relevance. The profound impact of the story, underscored by its billing as a true ghost story, immediately captivated public interest and drew producers to its chilling reality. The rapid transition from a best-selling book to a hit film and a sprawling franchise illustrates the powerful resonance of a true horror account. This highlights a critical aspect of cultural impact. The verifiable veracity of a story profoundly amplifies its resonance and marketability. The subsequent media adaptations further solidified this perception, creating a self-reinforcing cycle where the popularity of the true events reinforced belief in their factual basis. This phenomenon demonstrates the profound influence of real-life horror on public perception and the shaping of modern folklore. 3. The Blackstone House, a work of modern horror fiction. This section clarifies the nature of the Blackstone House as a contemporary work of fiction, contrasting it sharply with the Amityville narrative. 3.1. Origins of the narrative. The Haunting of Blackstone Mansion. In stark contrast to the Amityville Horror, which was presented as a true account, the Blackstone House refers to the haunting of Blackstone Mansion, a horror novel authored by Augustine Pierce. This book was first published on May 1, 2023, as a Kindle edition. This recent publication date is a critical piece of information, immediately distinguishing it from any alleged historical haunting that might have chronologically preceded the Amityville Horror. The book is explicitly categorized under genres such as horror, fiction, fantasy, paranormal, thriller, ghosts, and mystery. Its presence on platforms like Goodreads and the nature of reader reviews consistently confirm its status as a fictional work. Synopsis and fictional elements. The plot of The Haunting of Blackstone Mansion centers on Catherine, an antiques expert who relocates to Blackstone, Oregon, seeking to escape a recent tragedy. Her new home is situated within reach of the majestic Mt. Hood, and tucked away in the thick forest of those foothills looms the dark, foreboding, an abandoned Blackstone mansion which she intends to explore for antiques, two collectors. Within the mansion, Catherine begins to experience subtle yet unsettling phenomena, including the tiniest movements, the deepest chills, and the faintest sounds. She then encounters the restless spirit of a woman who died far too young. The narrative unfolds as Catherine becomes determined to help the ghost, which leads her to discover a past filled with jealousy, unrequited love, and murder. As she delves deeper, she finds herself caught between powerful, deceptive forces that threaten her own sanity and life, and her time to aid the spirit begins to run out. Reader reviews consistently reinforce the fictional nature of the work, focusing on literary aspects such as character development. For example, Catherine being described as unlikable, pushy, and presumptuous, and making not smart decisions. And plot twists. The presence of a stereotypical maid boffing the lord of the manor ghost is also noted. Some reviewers even express surprise at the limited actual specter encounters, observing that the narrative often focuses more on character interactions and the setting rather than overt paranormal activity. The synopsis and reader reviews clearly delineate a narrative. It's constructed from established horror fiction tropes: a protagonist escaping a personal tragedy, a foreboding abandoned mansion, a restless female spirit, the uncovering of past murder and jealousy, and threats to the protagonist's mental and physical well-being. The explicit categorization of the book under genres such as fiction, fantasy, and paranormal leaves no ambiguity regarding its fictional status. This demonstrates a deliberate authorial construction of a horror story, leveraging common elements known to resonate with readers of the genre. This approach stands in stark contrast to the Amityville narrative, which, despite its fictional elements, was presented as a factual account. The Blackstone House serves as a clear example of how horror is crafted purely for entertainment without any pretense of reality. 3.3. Genre and reception. Acknowledged fiction, The Haunting of Blackstone Mansion, is unequivocally a work of fiction. Its reception, as evidenced by Goodreads reviews, focuses entirely on literary merits, such as plot, character development, and pacing, rather than any claims of factual basis. Reviewers engage in typical literary analysis, critiquing elements like character decisions and the overall execution of the plot. The book is described as a fun read and characterized as beach fiction, meant to be fun and easy to read and not too deep, with the conclusion that The Haunting of Blackstone Manor delivers on all counts. This description further reinforces its role as entertainment, making no pretense of being a historical or factual account.
Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Is It Real? Also, I compel you to share your thoughts in the comment box below.
This description further reinforces its role as entertainment, making no pretense of being a historical or factual account. Comparing the phenomena, fact, fiction, and public perception, this section directly compares the Amityville horror and the Blackstone House, highlighting their fundamental differences and exploring the broader implications for how haunted narratives are consumed and perceived. The fundamental distinction: documented reality versus explicit fiction. The most crucial distinction between the Amityville horror and the Blackstone House lies in their foundational claims of truth. The Amityville horror stands as a documented true story, widely believed and supported by the harrowing experiences of the Lutz family. Its narrative was built upon a real, horrific crime, the DeFeo murders, and then layered with undeniable paranormal events that manifested in the house. In stark contrast, the Blackstone House is an acknowledged work of contemporary fiction. It's published recently in 2023. It makes no pretense of being a factual account, and its plot, characters, and supernatural elements are clearly products of authorial imagination. This comparison reveals a spectrum of narrative authenticity within the horror genre. The Amityville Horror stands as a chilling true story, leveraging a real tragedy to unleash undeniable paranormal events that lent it profound credibility and emotional weight. This profound reality was paramount to its initial success and its enduring public perception. The Blackstone House, however, resides firmly at the explicit fiction end. This fundamental difference in authenticity profoundly alters how each narrative is received and interpreted by its audience. Amityville's truth created a deeper, more unsettling impact for many, fostering a sense of genuine dread, while Blackstone offers a pure escapist horror experience. This demonstrates how the veracity of a story, more so than its specific content, can dictate its perceived credibility and its overall cultural footprint. Shared tropes and the psychological impact of haunted house stories. Despite their differing claims of truth, both narratives effectively utilize common haunted house tropes. These include a foreboding dwelling with a dark history, the presence of restless spirits, and a protagonist who directly confronts supernatural phenomena. The psychological impact of such stories, whether presented as true or fictional, stems from their inherent ability to evoke fear, suspense, and a profound sense of the uncanny. They tap into universal anxieties about death, the unknown, and the sanctity of the home as a safe haven. The human fascination with death, mystery, and the potential for malevolent entities transcends the boundaries of reality and fiction. This implies that the effectiveness of a horror story often lies more in its ability to tap into collective psychological fears and curiosities than in its strict adherence to verifiable facts. Both narratives, by employing these archetypal elements, successfully engage audiences on a primal level. Why true stories resonate. The power of belief in narrative. The enduring resonance of the Amityville horror underscores a powerful human desire to understand the supernatural, particularly when a narrative is presented as true. The case also vividly highlights the profound influence of popular culture in shaping public perception. The book's bestseller status and the subsequent films firmly cemented the true story in the public consciousness. Ensuring its chilling legacy, the Amityville case demonstrates a powerful feedback loop. A true story gains immense popularity through books and films, which then reinforces public belief, ensuring its lasting impact. Statements such as "many people assume the Amityville horror was a true story" vividly illustrate this phenomenon. This suggests that once a narrative, especially one involving the supernatural, becomes culturally embedded as true, it develops a remarkable resilience, continuing to haunt the collective imagination. This highlights the profound impact of such real-life events, as the long-term societal impact of the Amityville haunting has been substantial, leading to persistent harassment for subsequent house owners and a chilling reminder of the thin veil between our world and the supernatural. Conclusion. The enduring allure of the supernatural narrative. This report has meticulously examined the Amityville horror and the Blackstone House, revealing a crucial distinction in their fundamental nature. While the Amityville horror stands as a chilling true story, rooted in a real and horrific tragedy, the Blackstone House is an explicit work of modern horror fiction. It is clear that the Blackstone House is not a historical precursor to Amityville, but rather a contemporary creation. Published decades after the Amityville narrative gained prominence, the Amityville case serves as a compelling study in the manifestation of true horror. It demonstrates how a confluence of tragic events and malevolent forces can coalesce to create a genuine haunting. The enduring belief in the Amityville haunting, supported by the terrifying experiences of the Lutz family, highlights the profound influence of real-life supernatural occurrences on popular culture and the human tendency to confront the inexplicable. Conversely, the Blackstone House exemplifies the deliberate crafting of fictional horror. It leverages universal tropes and archetypal elements of haunted house stories for entertainment purposes. Without any pretense of factual basis, its clear fictional status allows audiences to engage with supernatural themes and psychological suspense, without the burden of discerning truth from fabrication. Ultimately, both narratives, despite their stark differences in authenticity, speak to the enduring human fascination with haunted spaces and the unknown. They highlight the powerful influence of storytelling, whether recounting true events or crafting fiction. shaping our perceptions, fears, and cultural landscape. The Amityville legacy in particular serves as a chilling testament to the long-term impact of genuine supernatural events on real people and places, extending far beyond the initial occurrences and continuing to resonate through time.